Well, I'm back, B.F.D followers. Again, it's winter. It seems like it was just yesterday. I'm in my shop and I was trying to come up with new ideas for videos to share with my fans. And I put together a few, and so I'm going to start a new series, and it's basically on tools. Tools that are useful for either the beginner welder for frames and or the avid bicyclist, because I do frames for bicycling. So I thought, tools are the next thing that we like to have. And again, you can spend a lot of money on tools when it comes to biking, and they're so unique and specific that they charge basically an arm and a leg for them. So I thought what I'm going to do is show you some tools that I make and how I went about doing that. And some of them are actually really pretty good and inexpensive now versus going out and buy them. And again, some of these tools are actually pretty inexpensive to start with, but I find that I misplace some sometimes. Put them in my travel bag and then they disappear and I can't find them, or they're just not as convenient to use as I would like. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a few of my tools. All right, stay tuned now. Okay, so I started making these tools, and one of them is the SRAM tool you need to have to remove your cassette from your free hub. And that same tool actually can be used on other things like one-up pedals, and I think there's a few other things. But I always lose this thing. Inserts into the cassette like this, and then with a chain whip you're able to then grab it and twist it off with a wrench. Okay, and so the other thing that I always have to have is something to hold on to that thing with, a wrench. And if I use the manual grip type where you have to hold on to it in order to maintain purchase onto the tool, and or vice grips. And they just cause kind of a weird feeling when I try to torque it. I always feel like it's slipping, and it is slipping. I have to always re-grip these things over and over and over again. And it's aggravating. And what I'd like to have is a tool that has a handle on it that is permanent, and or a ratchet that allows me to just insert and maintain pressure and just ratchet back and forth along with the tool, the chain whip. And so that's what I'm going to make. And if you don't have this, because you can just go ahead and weld onto this, but I want to make an extra one so that I can travel with it, put it in my travel bag for biking trips and stuff like that. What you can do is, if you have an old crank that has the spline on it, ta-da, right? That spline is the same as this spline. Now you do have to be aware of a few things when you select your crank that has a spline on it, and there are a handful of different sizes, and so you have to make sure that you are using a crank that has the exact same size as the cassette. Otherwise your tool will be useless, right? So make sure that you check that your spare old crank has the correct spline. You can go ahead and cut it off of your old crank. Let me show you what it looks like after I've cut it. So before, after. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is a simple cut job, right? Before I take it to the lathe, I'm going to just clean that up like I said. Now, a lot of you guys are saying, but I don't have a lathe, and that's true. So what you can do is be really careful. And it doesn't have to be precise because you're just going to be using it with a ratchet, and you might feel a little bit of a wobble if it's not totally flush and flat, but it won't defeat the purpose of the tool. But you can get very, very close if you just take your time with a grinder and a sander. And then, of course, when you weld it. Now, again, you might be saying, oh, I don't have a welder. And that may be true, but hey, you got to think outside the box. What you can do is get your socket and fit it so that it just slides in there, or just doesn't slide in there is a better saying. And then you hammer the shit out of it and you sit it inside here, and that's called an interference fit. And it essentially galls, right? It just seizes up inside there, and you'll be able to torque on it all you want, and it probably won't ever come out. But you know, Murphy's Law always says what can go wrong will go wrong, and I know that if I was going to rely upon that and just hammered it in there for that interference fit, it would work its way loose, and after a while I'd probably have to weld it. So if you have a welder, that's what you want to do. Real simple job. But I'm just going to go and cut this up, trim it down, and put it on the lathe. And so here we go. And of course, you want to have your ear protection and safety glasses, because safety's not an accident. And if I was really smart, I would have put a face mask on there so that I didn't inhale some of those particles. I always forget to do that. And yeah, not the greatest, because you can see here's the flare, and it rises on this edge here, and then it tapers back down a little bit. But for me, that doesn't matter. But if you don't have a lathe, what you can do is then take a sanding wheel or something and grind that down really slowly. And what I would suggest is to use a pen. Mark it off nice and even, and then grind down to that level. Okay, so I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to go and do it. But I'm going to go throw this onto my lathe and call it good for right now. All right. And I get to use my DJI mic here for first time in a long time. And of course I left my lathe set up for the last project, and now I have to go out and retool here. But I'm just going to set this in the lathe. Grab me my tool. Now, because this is just a short little exercise, I'm going to do this with my jacket on, and which has sleeves, of course. And safety-wise, you really don't want to have sleeves anywhere near high-speed turning tools. But I'm going to be ultra careful. I'm going to step away, hang back, and be nowhere near this. I'm a paranoid tooler. Or not tooler, machinist, you might say. So. And there you go. Nice and even, flush, smooth, all set for the insert. And so you can see how nice that is. And that's one thing that lathes are really good at doing, right? So that will go in like this. And then I'll leave a little shoulder on that and then weld around. That way I'll get a good bead that will hold the material. Maybe I'll use that indicator line or that groove as my indicator line. Yeah. All right, so let's go. All right, clean out my nose. It's cold as I don't know, I can't say. My wife would kill me if she heard me use some vulgar languages. Anyway, so I got the welding machine out, and I decided I'm going to TIG it rather than doing a just stick. Stick is quick and dirty, and just that is dirty. And with the TIG, it's so much cleaner. It takes a little more time, of course, but this is such a small job, I decided just to go ahead and do that. And all I'm going to do is weld around the edges there, and that should do it. I hope, right? I'll probably have to go fairly quickly because I will fog up my mask and won't be able to see anything. So I'll probably be holding my breath at the same time. So if you see me come up for air, that's why. I got a tack, but I had to close my eyes because it's so cold. The batteries in my mask are dead, and it just flared up in my eyes, and I didn't want to blind myself, so I closed my eyes. And so, that sucks. I'm gonna have to. I think I'll just take some time off now, go inside. I'll come back later and change the batteries, and we'll do that all over again. Alright, so let's see if we can finish this weld up of the cassette tool. And I've replaced the batteries in my welding mask, and hopefully they work. It's still cold, and so you know, batteries seem not to work as well, and I nearly blinded myself last time. So let's give it a shot. Probably should have gone ahead and dunked it into some cleaner and then wiped it off, but I just want to get this done. And so just 2 more breath holds and we'll be done. All right. And that's definitely not going to come off this time. And there you go. All right, And here you have it. It's all done, welded up and cleaned up a bit, and it receives the tool just fine. Still fits into the cassette, and unscrews. I guess the test would be to actually take it off a wheel. Let's just go ahead and put it on using the tool. It's the beauty of these things, is putting them on is easy. And so that goes on pretty easily, and it didn't fall off. I didn't have to re-grip it or anything like that. And so that's a success for putting it on. So now taking it off, break out the old chain whip here. And now it's going to have to go in the opposite direction. So the chain whip will have to go and prevent it from rotating counterclockwise. So put the whip on there. And ready? Here we go. And there we go, no slippage or anything. Take the whip off. All right. Extraction. Perfecto. And it's clean looking. Whoop. And I'll be able to take this on trips now and keep it attached to the ratchet and not lose the damn tool. And I hope that works for you guys. Let me know. Again, just look for the correct size spindle on an old crank, and you have it made. All right. See you next time. Have fun with it.